Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Nothing Zilch Nada. We're your hosts, Xavier Dean.
And Jacob Green.
And this week it's Jake's turn. So, Jake, what we have planned for today?
Yeah, so uh let's well actually maybe I should start with this. So we'll be talking about the second half of our band memories today, which we started going over the first part of that in one of our previous episodes that we did around July. And if you haven't seen that first part, I recommend you check out that one first. Although you probably don't need the context for this episode, but if you're curious about our grade school to sophomore year journey through band, uh, go ahead and watch that one. By all means, watch this one first. I'm sure you'll still enjoy it either way because oh my gosh, the train just keeps on running with
Yes,
this
it
one.
does.
So we're starting from our junior year and just making our way until we graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, the band journey has ended, but it doesn't end our journey through music.
No, it does not.
Uh, yeah, which is different for both of our cases, but regardless. So, uh, junior year of high school was a very it was a very interesting time for a lot of reasons. But I think the first thing that was interesting was what we did for our marching band show this year. So we talked about previously that in our freshman year we did Wicked, uh, based on that same musical, and we did uh, what was that show called for our sophomore year? Oh,
Uh,
Out of the Abyss.
yeah.
Out of the Abyss was the name, and that featured music, uh, like Nine on Ball Mountain, Les Miserables, and music from Circuit du Soleil.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I will still stick with that is my favorite show solely because of our ISU performance.
yeah,
Or not
I
ISU, U of I performance.
yeah, I kind of stand by that too. Um, but this year we decided to still go for like a wide catalog of music, but the theme for that show was about the store. Um, the very massive door prop, which I don't know if that's still around. I'm sure it's stored in
The,
the garage
I think
somewhere.
half of it is stored in the garage. I have no clue what happened to the other half.
Yeah, well, either way, that I think that show was also pretty good in terms of music because we were playing stuff like Claire de Lune, which is one of the most popular Debussy pieces out there, and I those of you that know me, I really love Debussy. Debussy is really awesome. And we played Firebird Suite, which is a very popular piece by Igor Stravinsky.
Mhm.
Um, and then we played what was the other stuff that we played? We played March of the Resistance.
We did play
Uh,
March of the Resistance because I remember there was a percussion solo at the beginning where it's just us marching and then
yes, there was a lot of percussion features.
yep. I
Yep.
I vaguely remember how it started. I remember feeling cool when I was doing that.
Yeah. We'll need to go over like our marching band shows one of these days.
We will.
Um yeah, one of these days we will. Um yeah, but as me and Xavier have recounted, and we will recount this today,
Hmm.
um the one thing that both of us can agree on is the fact that we think that the biggest problem with that show from the beginning, even though we didn't fully realize it at the time, was the massive door prop.
Yes.
So Xavier, why don't you explain it?
Okay, so basically, there's this big door. It is
Mhm.
about, I want to say, maybe 6 feet wide, about 10, 15, maybe 10. I'll stick 10. 10 feet high. And it is heavy. It hurts when you end up getting hit by it.
And it's huge.
It, but also, it is because I ended up recounting this with my father a couple days, or not a couple days ago, but a couple weeks ago. It catches wind really well. We had a band competition where like it was very windy, and it took my father and another band father who was a football coach, both of them pretty big, muscular dudes.
Hmm.
It took them having to push down on the back of the prop just for it not to fly out.
Hmm.
So, but no, like I said, that was by far one of my least favorite props. I am still, I still say to this day that I want to be the one to take a sledgehammer to it.
I would like to join you on that.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, because we started doing props our sophomore year, but the year before that, well, I guess you could say the color guard had like the witch hats for Wicked,
Yeah, the color
which
guard
I
had
guess I guess you could consider as a prop, but it was only held by the color guard, so and it
extensions
wasn't.
of their musical instruments.
Yes. But sophomore year was when we started having bigger props, which those were simpler because we just had the mountains and they were light because they
Mhm.
were made out of PVC pipes and
Yep.
cloth. Now, the flaw with those was that they caught wind very easily and they
Mm.
could be easily knocked down, but they were easily movable,
Yep.
so it wasn't that big of an issue. But that was the opposite problem of the door. The door was very hard to move. I don't know how did it had to be uh put in a separate trailer
It
because
you I
we still use the other trailer to store like all the percussion instruments.
Yeah, that one had to be put. I'm pretty sure that one had to be put in a separate trailer. I honestly
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that was the
either
year that every band competition happened to land on a cross country meet. So I had to. I think the only one that didn't land on was it was U of I because that was regionals, and I specifically remember I couldn't run regionals, but I still ran sectionals.
yeah. Um
I honestly don't
yeah,
know.
but I remember I forgot that happened with your case,
Hmm.
because you were in cross country.
Yeah.
Um, but we have a couple of specific uh, instances, or as we might call them, incidents of the door happening. Uh, One of those, was probably the biggest one, was, in fact, it might have been the only big incident, unless I'm missing something, but the first one that I instantly remember and recall uh, was the incident at Northern Illinois University, which was like our third competition for that year. Um, so we do the show, and the prop, while it was being carried out by two adults, during that show in particular, there were two teenagers like us at that time, not holding instruments. Uh, they were handling the prop and making sure it got placed in the right spot. And
Hmm.
for that competition, it did not get placed in the right spot. Now, I didn't see the moment at which it occurred. However, my mom, who was there at the competition, did record it, and we saw the reason why our band director was kind of not happy about how the system uh, incident went out. Um, But Xavier was part of that incident in the chaos of it. So
Hmm.
I will explain it. So
I'm trying to
um
remember it. It might have been too traumatic. I
yeah,
vaguely remember something happening.
yes, so what ended up happening was the door got placed in the wrong spot, which we wouldn't have been able to notice, or at least the brass section, who was in the back and front of like the other sections of instruments, wouldn't have been able to see it because the door was behind them. Uh, and what happened was when everyone was starting to backwards march, I think I remember it started when the trombone player faltered, not because of his own fault, but because he couldn't see the door behind him, so he ended
Hmm.
up tripping backwards from the door. But that um oh my gosh.
I remember
It
that
caused a
now.
whole chain reaction to happen because as we know about trombone players, they got the long extension slide. So literally like whips around, knocks some other brass players over, and I remember you specifically, you had your baritone and you just like ducked quickly. Oh man, I wish that video was still there because like,
Oh,
oh man, you just had to see it for
I
yourself.
remember it now. I remember
Now,
it now. I'm seeing
now
you think, was it one where we backed into the door and all of us fell, or but oh, I remember that.
it wasn't like the whole brass section. I think it was mostly low brass, but like it was a at least five people,
Hmm.
maybe even more. But um the situation got resolved though because people were able to recover quickly, and it was during the I think it happened during like the close to halfway to the show.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it wasn't like during towards the end of the show. I don't think it happened during the ballot part either. Um, but the point is though is that yeah, that was an incident that happened and it was kind of a huge problem for all of us. I mean, at the end of the day, it was the people that were moving the door. It was their fault for not putting it in the right spot. Um, to begin with, but
Mm.
it was a problem in general because everyone had to like move the huge prop, and it was a pain. It really was a pain. Um,
And I do remember because I was that trombone who wasn't a trombone. I remember the weeks after that, the trombone player was just upset
mhm.
and just he was already checked out because it was his
Yeah,
senior year, but he was just so
yeah.
peeved.
Do you remember any other incident with the door that you can recall? Because that was the only one
Uh,
that I
well,
remember.
there's I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was when we were practicing during the school day, but at one of our Wednesday night rehearsals, and I'm trying to remember because we initially had it where we had to go in front of the door, but we were doing
Mhm.
like a weird like sideways backwards march. I remember when we went, we kept bumping into the door, and some of us kept falling onto the door. And I don't remember if we ended up changing it so that we went behind the door to make it a little safer, or if there was one specific instance where we all ended up going behind the door.
Yeah. Um, Now, the next story when it came to that particular show wasn't necessarily having to do with the door, but it was happening during the show itself. So in our final competition at U of I for that year, um, it was a very windy day. Like
Mm.
it was a nice day in general. Like there was barely a cloud in the sky. The sun was showing. There wasn't a drop of rain. Everything was fine. Problem was it was very windy outside. And
Yeah,
in one
wasn't it too
section of
windy that we couldn't put our plumes on? or we couldn't put them on
You
until
know, you know what? Yeah, yeah, it was that bad. It was also that bad because I do remember this, and this is in that recording. Um, there's a section of the show where I was part of this section too. Because there were two groups. One group of people was like at the front of center of the yard line of the 50-yard line, and we were playing Claire de Lune together as this like little miniature ensemble, and I think you were a part of that too, if I recall, uh,
maybe.
for Claire de Lune. But everyone else was like in this like wide arc with their instruments down, and they were doing movements while we played Claire de Lune,
Hmm.
and one of the sousaphone players, when they had their instrument down, the sousaphone like slightly moved
Oh.
from the wind, not far enough to where they couldn't reach it, but like it was that bad. I
Hmm.
also remember one of the bands from that competition did a show with like garbage bags, and I just remember bags just like flying out of the air. It was
Oh, I remember
crazy.
that too.
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, it was band competitions or something else. You don't know what to expect from those.
No,
Um,
you honestly don't.
yeah. Um, but I will say what was more memorable than the door from that show, at least for me personally, was one of the conflicts that I had in high school, period, with somebody. So Xavier shared in our previous band memories episode about his bully story. So it's fair enough. I get to share mine.
Woo.
So
Oh, I missed the popcorn. Oh well.
yeah. And Xavier, you're gonna know instantly who I'm talking about. But uh, for the sake of this discussion, uh, we're gonna call her Carrie.
Okay,
So
who you're talking
yeah,
about?
so Carrie was the year above me. Uh, so like when I was a freshman, she was a sophomore, and starting my sophomore year, she was one of two section leaders for marching band. Um, and she was a fine enough saxophone player, and like at the time during my sophomore year, I kind of respected her a little bit, and I would even ask her for some advice that she would be able to get it. Uh, Unbeknownst to me, starting around our concert band and jazz band season for that sophomore year, I didn't realize that she was starting to feel jealous of me because I was placed in a lead chair position for jazz ensemble. And
Well, are we sure it was
also,
that and not because you looked like Tobey Maguire? Maybe
uh,
she wanted to be your Gwen Stacy.
I wish that was the case instead. Um, but yeah, but unbeknownst to me, because like she started switching our parts around to where I was playing section and she was playing first. But I didn't care because I thought, oh, maybe this is what the director wanted. Spoiler, it wasn't. But like I didn't care because to this day, I don't care. I just want to play music. I just want to learn. I just want to have fun with people. I want to make the audience happy. Those are all things I still strive for to this day. Like there's a quote by Leonard Bernstein that goes like, um, we all need the parts of an ensemble. If we don't have a second fiddle, we don't have no harmony.
Hmm.
Um, it's how you lead your own part that counts. But regardless, she was starting to get jealous of me, unbeknownst to me, but it started to become more prominent during my junior year of high school, where again, she was section leader. Um, and not only would she put me on second on some parts, but she would try to belittle me and say that all the stuff that I've been saying about like saxophone technique and such doesn't work. Even though I was taking private lessons since like during my freshman year of high school. And the private teacher that I had was pretty good. He's a pretty good guy, really really excellent player. Period. Um, but but she was jealous of me, and it really started to bother me. And she and another section leader were also picking another person too that was getting bullied more than I was, and it was just really it just really started to bother me. And
Mhm.
at that time, I was someone that didn't really learn to speak up for themselves because I'm like, oh, I should probably learn to stay silent because I don't know any better. Um, Spoilers, that is not usually a good tactic to do in this
Mhm.
scenario. I mean, sure, sometimes you have to wait it out, but if you know for sure that something is up, you gotta try and speak up about it.
Yes.
Eventually, I did, um, and this was the catalyst of that. So, in that same competition that we were talking about, the incident with the door at Northern Illinois University,
Mhm.
um, we were about to walk off and march in our block to the stadium, uh, and I recently bought a synthetic reed for saxophones. So if you don't know what a synthetic reed is, so most reeds that women players would use are made of cane, which is a type of plant. It's kind of wood based. Um, but the problem with them, especially in a marching band, is that if there's a period of time where there's a bunch of cold weather or wind, your reed can dry out and will sometimes leave it warped and in other cases unable to play. And I won't get into the complicated logistics of why that's the case. But having a synthetic reed, which looks like plastic, but it isn't, um, mitigates that. And I'm not a big fan of synthetic reeds in general, but I liked using them for marching band because it didn't really affect the weather too much. Um, but I was gonna try out that synthetic reed during the competition, which I was using it quite a bit in our rehearsals beforehand. So I'm about to march off, and our secretary comes up to me and she's like, are you playing on that synthetic reed? And this is where I should have said no. I should have said no, but because I was too damn honest to people, I was like, yes, I am. And she was like, don't play on it. And I asked her why. I asked her why shouldn't I play on this reed? And then she gives me the worst answer that you can ever give me to any question. Just don't. Ooh. Oh man, words cannot comprehend how much blood was boiling in my system because I mean I didn't get mad at her. I didn't yet. Well, I did get mad at her, but I didn't yell at her. I didn't. I wasn't being verbose about it. I was just very silent about my anger. But it was also 5 minutes until we had to march off, so I had to take off my synthetic reed quickly, march with my best cane reed, and walk out. But after that competition, I told my band director about the incident because, oh man, I was not happy. I was not happy because, like, to anyone out there that teaches any students or like is leading students, period, um, unless you know otherwise, do not tell them to not play on a certain type of gear. Like, make recommendations. Maybe tell them to switch to a different mouthpiece, but never tell them to not ever play on something in a very rare scenario that you should. And that incident that happened to me, like, full straight up bull crap. Like, I'm, it bugs me to no end. Bugs me to no end. So don't, to anyone that teaches musicians, just don't ever do that because you'll make more enemies than friends when you do that. Just saying. But I talked to my band director about it, and as we all know, me and Xavier know, our band director was a very understanding person, and she is not one tolerant to anyone getting bullied. So I don't know what discussion took place, but my section leader, did not bother me again afterwards. So for that U of I competition, I was able to finally march with a synthetic reed. Whoop-de-doo.
Woohoo!
And this is where the story would end, but I'm not done yet. Um, so to finally cap the end of like her trying this isn't necessarily her trying to bully me, but just some of the stuff to show like of how jealous she was of me. Um, After marching season was over, we auditioned for concert band and jazz band. And of course, for jazz band, I got lead chair like I did last year. And for concert band, I was thinking, I might get second or third chair. I ended up getting first chair. And I think that uh excitement of getting such a high position uh lasted only for a few seconds because the thought occurred to me that I'm just like, oh no, Carrie is just not gonna feel good about this. And I suddenly started to become very nervous and afraid. And I was mentally freaking out in my mind because I was just like, oh man, and like she saw and she made a huge meltdown about it. And like I tried to stay away from her because I did not want to be involved whatsoever. But But here's the thing: she got placed a chair below me. She was just a second chair. But because of how what's the right word to use in this scenario? Uh, Not stubborn, but like um,
Standoffish?
huh?
Standoff?
No, not selfish, but like
Oh, standoffish.
standoffish. No.
Yeah.
Um, Something having to do with pitiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So to make it even more pitiful for herself, she decided that during concert band rehearsals and even in our concert, she did not sit next to me. She just sit on the last chair.
Hmm.
Like she did not want to put up with me whatsoever. And to be honest, I didn't want to put up with her either. And as people know me, I don't like to have conflict. You know, like I'm cool with somebody as long as they don't get under my skin. Um, and I would have been fine sitting next to her because I'm like, well, sucks to be me, I guess. But it didn't end up happening that way. But you know, that's just how it goes. And then the ending to that whole saga is when during that year for concert band, we did these things called challenges. And I think the only challenge that took place from that was her challenging me for my chair position. So you could challenge someone for your chair position. But the challenge never ended up happening because like we were given a week to do a piece, which was kind of difficult. It was like very modern stuff, but I worked on it. I even took it to my teacher so that way he could give me some tips on it. And I was prepared to do them, to do my darnest best on them. But my band director pulled me aside one day, and I almost thought I was in trouble, but I wasn't. She was just telling me that she chickened out of the competition and that you know it's over. That
Atwood's way.
Yeah. So kind of a bittersweet ending to everything. You know,
Mm.
don't don't let people like her what she did to me stop you from putting in the hard work and to be an artist ultimately because that's what I care about everything else. Music is an art, and you know I put my position as an artist above my pride.
Yeah.
So wow, yeah, that was a really defining story. So
Mhm.
do you have any junior year stories that you want to share?
So, I'm trying to think of everything that happened. I I at the very least have a small one and a big one.
Okay.
So the small one goes like this. During this time, our band director wanted us to take part in these sectionals during concert band. They'd be at
Ye-
different times of the week, different days. Basically, it's you pick a day, she'll come in, you'll perform or you'll practice, and you'll go.
Yeah, I remember that.
hmm Yeah, Jake, how many sectionals do you think you guys had?
I don't recall, but like it was a consistent amount. And I do remember our band director taking part in those, and even the ones from our sophomore year.
Cool. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, we didn't have any.
Yeah, I already saw where the story was going because I remember you venting about this.
It was so keep in mind, I'm the kind of person who wants to show up whenever I can, and I show
Hmm.
up early.
Hmm.
We got the short end of the stick and had, I think it was Monday mornings, like 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30. And of course, I always made sure I was at school early anyway because I was
Yeah.
a teacher's pet.
We had early morning sectionals too, from what I
Yeah,
remember. It wasn't on
but yours
Mondays, but
weren't on Mondays.
yeah.
Ours were. First day after the weekend, no one wants to wake up. I was outside the band room door by 6:45 waiting for our band director, and she didn't get there until
Mm.
closer to 7:30 when she needed to be there for work. That's not it. The other two people wouldn't be there. Now, one of them was understandable. He didn't always have a breakfast at home, so he would eat breakfast in the cafeteria. That's perfectly fine. That one's not the one I'm knocking at. The other one, the trombone player that we were talking about earlier, he was so checked out that he basically treated band as a PE credit, didn't do anything extra, didn't show up to any of the sectionals. So most of the sectionals that we had was just me sitting there going through my music and saying, I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me.
Beside me.
My problems have all gone. Uh, no. So that's the small one. The big one also pertaining to the trombone section. So we had the trombone player who was first chair. And then we had this other trombone player who both of them were great friends of mine. The other one, who was our third chair, was a friend of mine since grade school. And he and I still send TikToks to each other from time to time again. Just like how Jake and I send Instagram Reels at time to time again.
You
More
mean
Jake than I, but that's just because I'm busy. But I still watch them all. But anyway, going back to uh this, from marching band all the way to the end of the year, I was in the middle. And I wasn't in the middle because I was second chair. I was second chair, but only because I was playing baritone still instead of trombone. I was in the middle so that they wouldn't fight against each other and cause a little war. Because trombone number one wasn't a big fan of trombone number three. There were so many times where he told trombone number three to not play a single note during concerts. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
war? It's
Ah,
fantastic.
ah. More.
War. It's fantastic.
War. What is it good for? Anyway, going back to it. Uh,
Mhm.
they would constantly be fighting because trombone number three actually was trying to do what he was supposed to do because he liked band. Trombone one didn't, and he viewed trombone three as, oh, you can't play at all. It was to a point where before every concert, trombone one would tell trombone three, don't play. Which, me being friends with both of them, I'm sitting here giving both of my opinion. I'm sitting here
Hmm.
like, dude, come on, he's a trombone just like you. Cut him some slack.
Yeah,
And I was always the one convincing trombone three that he should continue playing because, again, he's part of the band. In fact,
yeah.
I would say he became a significant part of the band.
Hmm.
And whenever trombone one would get mad, trombone three, I would step in and be like, hey, if you're gonna get mad, someone get mad at me because you didn't want to have him play, and I told him play anyway.
Yeah,
Rub it in your face. Besides that, I can't think of any like significant junior year stories. Most
yeah,
of my junior year stories come from cross country and Scholastic Bowl.
yeah. Well, before we continue on from there, one thing I forgot to mention when we did our previous videos is that how we did like the jazz competitions every year.
Hmm.
We also did the spaghetti dinners every year, which is
Hey,
still running to this
Jake,
day.
before we continue, we've only
Mhm.
got a little over 3 minutes left. Do we want to hop onto another Zoom to continue that?
Um, well, I just wanted to say for the spaghetti dinners is
Oh,
that all the bands would come together and play really great jazz music. Um, and even the Illinois Valley Community College Jazz Band would come over, and I got to see my private teacher play, which is fun.
hmm.
Um, minus our last year band, which we'll talk about some of that.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
get to it. Don't worry.
yeah, yeah. But I just want to say, pretty fun event. Glad that it's still happening.
Hmm. And I'm still working it. I think I've worked almost all of them except for the two that were in between me and my sister.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think they had spaghetti dinner those 2 years for the
Yeah.
reason we'll get into.
Yep.
But besides that, I'm gonna quickly shut off this Zoom meeting. We'll hop onto another one, and then we will continue with our senior year. And we're back, and just in time to start off our senior year. And
Yeah.
oh boy,
Yeah. Well, slightly before that, though, we got to talk about what happened in between that because, at
uh,
least for me, there were two major events that happened during the summer. Well, I guess three in total. But like the biggest thing that happened during that summer was the Disney trip that we went.
yes, the Disney trip.
Yeah.
When
So
I
yeah, every four
time when I
years.
was officially leaving the baritone.
Yeah. So every 4 years, um, we got to a certain like group of band members get to take part of that a trip to Disney World. So it'll be a different group of people every 4 years. Um, it's a big trip, but it's well worth it. Um, I just had a really fun time with that trip. You know, going to the different parks. My favorite ones being Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Um, and my favorite moments from that trip would have to be when we marched down Magic Kingdom, albeit in very hot temperatures in our marching band uniforms, which
Yeah,
are more for the cold weather than anything.
they're more for
But
culture than anything.
yeah, um, but it was still a lot of fun. You know, that was probably one of my favorite marching performances, period, at least in terms of like a parade style fashion. Um,
That's true.
but and then the other thing that I enjoyed was when we got to go to this recording studio and having someone, a saxophone player, like showing us some stuff and us getting to play some Disney music. Although calling Star Wars Disney music is probably stretching it, but regardless, it was still pretty fun. It
They're
was still a
fun.
pretty fun time. And seeing the fireworks at Epcot and getting to
Mhm.
go, oh man, the I like the old world section better than the new world section because
Yes.
there's just so much different cultures to
Oh,
go around. Now, to get an experience of different cultures, you're better off like going to a different part of the country to experience that culture. But like Epcot is still like
Epcot does
it's
pretty
still
well.
yeah. My favorite personal favorite was the Japanese store because there were a bunch of Japanese knickknacks, and I got a couple of manga books over there. Um, Also, I bought a stuffed Stitch while I was there, which I still have to this day for my nieces and nephews to play with. Um, and I also remember a close friend of ours buying a full-on replica lifesaver, which was like, I think it was like $200 or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yep. Yeah, I still talk to that friend. I don't think he has that lightsaber anymore.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him for a bit, but I should talk to him sometime.
So
Um,
on a really downer note, last time I talked to him, like officially talked to him, was at a wake for one of our old teachers. Not like
oh,
yours and mine, but like mine and his.
uh,
Uh,
yeah, but uh yeah, but I mean the rides were sort of all right. The only one that I liked was the Rocket Roller Coaster from Hollywood Studios. If y'all can tell from like our story about Six Flags, I really like high thrill rides.
hmm
I mean, I like the relaxing ride too, but you know,
Yeah, I think
I like to be bold sometimes.
so. I think around that time, Space Mountain was closed for
Mhm.
renovations
Yeah.
because I don't know, I remember not being able to go there. Otherwise, I'd say that you would like that one.
Yeah. I didn't like Avatar though, and Avatar was just a very long line.
Avatar wasn't very long. Well, it was also like recently opened,
It was recently open, but like,
and
I
it
mean,
was, in my
it
mind,
was
it was a
all
very surreal experience.
it was all right. It's just I don't know. I prefer good old fashioned high speed roller coaster more than simulation rides, unless that simulation is very interactive, which Avatar kind of wasn't. I mean, because like you couldn't really like control it on your own or anything. It's not
Yeah.
like something that you would see in like an arcade or something.
hmm
Which if it was that, I would have taken that. But
Hmm.
um
Well, you heard it here for or first, folks. Jacob Green, not a big fan of Disney World's rides, other than the Rock and
I
Roller
think
Coaster that's
I
now a
think they're
Muppet
all
Show.
right. I think they're all right.
hmm
But what oh, the other thing I remember about that Disney trip was with the guys that I was rooming with. I remember we were watching Rick and Morty Robot Chicken and playing cards with each other and me winning the game because I learned to be clever with my choices. And people thinking, "Oh, Jake is innocent. He wouldn't do something like that." And I did.
Yeah. Yeah, Jake's not as innocent as anyone thinks.
Yeah. Anyways, but do you have any stories regarding Disney World?
Okay. Do I have any stories? Well, I think what we have to do is we got to start on our way to Disney. Because
Oh man, the trip to and from was very exhausting. It was a very long. We took a whole bus from Illinois all the way to Florida.
yep.
That was like
And
a whole day.
and then I think we had two or three main stops on
Yeah.
our way.
Actually, real quick, from one of our stops, I remembered when we were there for a bit, I got to play a Mortal Kombat 2 arcade cabinet.
Was that at the mall?
Uh, I don't know if it was a mall. I think it was a gas station, but it was pretty
No,
big.
I know.
But like I got my ass kicked for sure.
Mm.
I did not know much about old school fighting games at that time, but I do now. Anyone that wants to find me on Street Fighter 2,
Hey,
call
don't
me.
say that. I've got family who would completely kick your ass, who know how to play Street Fighter.
Not if I kick them first.
No, but anyway, I think it was our second stop. We stopped at a mall, and I want to say it was on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee, or maybe the border of Tennessee and somewhere else.
Mhm.
But at this mall, there was like a smoothie stand. And this smoothie stand only put vegetables and a little bit of syrup in each of their smoothies.
Okay, now that you mentioned it, I remember making that mall stop, but I don't remember much about it.
I remember that stop for one key detail. I ordered a spinach and banana smoothie.
Oh, oh,
Hold on,
oh.
you think that I took one drink of it and immediately was like, this is a banana smoothie. I saw the spinach. I know they put banana syrup in this. This tastes like banana. This does not taste like spinach. And I was talking to a bunch of people about it, and Trombone 3, who we were talking about, again, the one I talk to somewhat regularly, he's looking at me like, I don't believe it. So he drank it. He liked it. I think he had several drinks of it. Or maybe he got, I don't know. All I know is that sometime after that, I sent his mom a text saying, hey, we're not even a day in, and I just tricked your son into drinking vegetables. You're welcome. Yeah.
That's good.
And then the next day, I stopped him from getting heat stroke because we stopped at Animal Kingdom, which apparently, no shade.
Yeah.
Ended up getting him a bottle of water and a blue slush. He put the blue slush on the back of his neck for the time being and drank the water. And as
Mhm.
time went on, he slowly switched to the slush. But I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of anything else significant within the first couple days, other than
Yeah.
what you've already mentioned, which, by the way, parade at Disney,
Yeah.
it's magical. And yeah,
Yeah. It really was a fun trip. I have very fond memories about that trip. And
I think the only other, because there's three more things
mhm.
I have. First, I also was in charge of taking Trombone One's trombone on the trip because he was already down there with a member of his family or a couple members of his family. He stopped at a comic book store because he knew that I was a big fan of comics. And as my payment, he got me these really cool comics, one of which had a Stan Lee tribute on it.
Ooh,
I'm sitting here like, this is awesome. The second one, so the hotel we stayed at had a little gym outside. It
it
was
was a very nice hotel.
it was a very nice hotel, but there was a little gym on the outside. Now I was still in cross country and I was trying to stay in running shape, so I asked the band director and the band director's husband, "Hey, I see there's a gym here. Am I allowed to wake up early to go?" And normally something like that wouldn't be allowed unless you have adult supervision, right? Because of how early I said I was going to do it, which was 4 o'clock in the morning. I, I didn't sleep well back then either. But it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up and go work out. And because of the kind of person I was, they trusted me to go to the gym on my own, go for a little run, and come back.
You know, if you needed adult supervision, I probably could have provided it because I was 18
Yeah, you
at
were a
that
legal adult. I was not.
time.
Not for another 3 months.
Legal by number, maybe not in terms of mental capacity, but
Yeah.
although I wasn't like immature or anything.
Hmm.
I was just very serious about everything.
Yeah. And of
Almost.
course, I think I only slept maybe a couple hours a night, but that was because my group had all picked sections of where they would sleep, and I'm sitting here like, well, because there was a big debate on who got what bed, and I'm like, well, I don't need to sleep on a bed. I don't need to sleep on a couch. I can just sleep on the floor under the table. That was where I slept all, like, I think it was all 4 nights. It was a
Yeah,
really comfortable floor, but I
yeah,
only slept
yeah.
only a couple hours, and I would
We had to, yeah, yeah.
because I would finish my workout, go back in the room and shower, and no one else would be awake. I just remember plugging my headphones in, having my phone on the charger, and watching Death Battle, just like different death battles to catch up until people woke up.
Yeah.
And then the final significant story,
Mhm.
and Jake knows this. He knows this well. It has to do with the Star Tours ride at Hollywood Kingdom, and it has to do with when we were playing Disney music, like at the official Disney place.
At Hollywood Studios.
No, not at Hollywood Studios. Like our last day when we went to record music, it involved.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna start that day, the day we were recording. So
Mhm.
not only did we record music, but the guy who was recording us also wanted a couple of voice actors. And there were a couple obvious ones. There was like the lightsaber, the whirr, whirr, whirr. He went to our sousaphone player. Sousa did that. He also wanted Yoda, which our band director was more than happy to.
I remember this now.
Third thing he wanted was R2D2. He asked who has the best R2D2 impression. Now, our tall friend, who, great friend of ours, immediately calls me out. The reason being, a couple days before that, we were at Hollywood Studios. I was grouped with him and a bunch of other people, and they were going, like, we may have gone through Star Tours about 6 times because it's a different story every time. And as you're going through the line, you're passing R2D2. Every time I past R2D2, I whistle. I've gotten sloppy in recent years, but I was really good at the R2D2 whistle. It wasn't until the sixth time around when we were actually waiting in the line
Mhm.
that that our tall friend looks at me. He's like, "You were whistling this entire time? I thought R2D2 was talking to me." I'm sitting here like, "Cool. I just tricked our friend into thinking that an inanimate object was talking to him." That's
Yeah.
the highlight of my trip. Nothing could go wrong. Flash forward, he calls me out. I do my whistle. So I can officially say I'm a Disney voice actor. Kind of. Still
Disney, hit
count.
him up. Hit him up. He'll star in the I guess the new Toy Story, I guess.
Oh, no, 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 no. No, come on. Marvel's part of Disney. Sign me up for Marvel's Zombie
Call him up for the
Season
next Big
2.
Hero 6 movie.
I'm fine with that one too. I don't care if I'm Tadashi and have to die. I want to be in that movie. I actually don't think I'd be Tadashi. I'd make a pretty good
Disney,
Fred though. Sign
Disney,
me up as Fred.
you Disney that would be fun.
It
Disney,
would. I will
you have
willingly keep this hair just to be Fred.
yeah, and the underwear too.
Yep. I wear them front, I wear them back.
Wear them back.
I go
I
inside
wear
out,
them
and then
back.
I go front and back.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, yeah. Fun trip. Fun
that was a really
memories.
fun trip.
Hmm. Um, the two other things that happened during that summer though, before we started our marching season,
Hmm.
was we had the section leader camp, which only lasted for a day. Although I also went to that the year beforehand, even though I wasn't a section leader, but I auditioned for drum major for junior year, which did not end up happening. But our band director was pretty impressed by my audition and my I guess my willingness to learn and work that she decided to put me along the trip anyways, which was a pretty good experience for me. Um, that second trip was kind of waste for me though, because the guy who was the same guy from last year basically taught like the same stuff.
Hmm.
It almost felt like a whole retread of those concepts. And I remember our band director kind of being disappointed about that, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Um, what was even more fun was the camp that I personally went to. So my senior year, I auditioned for both section leader and drum major before our junior year ended, and I was able to get the drum major position. And I was the only drum major of that year, um,
Hmm.
just because of the size of the band at that time.
Yeah.
Um, but but I went to drum major camp, which is Smith Wallbridge, and is mostly run by people who run the marching band for uh, UIUC, which if you know anything about that marching band, that's a pretty big deal.
Hmm.
Um, But I remember that trip because our drum major captain was also with me, and we were placed in two different groups. But that was my first experience, like living quote unquote in a college dorm room, um, experiencing the showers and the rooms and the beds. But it was a very fun trip and fruitful experience. One of the things I remember from it was that well, I got an award for like most improved drum major, and the guy, one of the leaders that was there, was so impressed by my commitment to learning that he gave me his signature handkerchief with his name on it in bold letters. And I don't know
Oh,
what's that, but
oh.
I it meant something to me at that time.
It should
It's
mean
hard to say. It's hard to say whether it carries the same impact now, but at that time it really did mean something. Um, but that goes on to our senior year of our marching band, which this
hold on,
show,
hold on.
uh,
Before we get to that,
yeah.
remember when I said I went from baritone to trombone?
Hmm.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have any classes on it. Like all I had was Mr.
Mr.
Corn,
Soybean.
Mr. Soybean. I think we called him Mr. Corn. Almost called him
I
Mr. Corn. So all I had was Mr. Corn my freshman year, slowly teaching me the positions. I didn't have anything else other than that. So senior year, I took trombone one's trombone from the school, which is a really nice trombone. It had a little trigger, so I didn't have to go all the way to sixth or seventh position. I just go trigger one, trigger two, and be done. So naturally, I was excited, but with with the timing of that, when I started dating my girlfriend, because that also sort of sparked from Disney. Bought a big, expensive snow globe and gave it to her, and then asked her to go on a date with me. And then with cross country going on at that time as well, because I was heavy into that as well,
Yeah.
I basically had 2 months
Mhm.
to learn, not only learn how to play trombone, we'll learn how to play it fast because of our show, which we will get into once we do that.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
remember spending hours upon hours over the summer just trying to get the positions down, doing like I did the Remington as fast as I could just to get the bum, 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 bum.
yeah, Remington. I remember those
Yep.
exercises.
I still feel like I got snubbed for most improved band player
Yeah.
because I
Um,
learned a full instrument over the summer.
yeah. Real quick thing about Mr. Corn though. He's one of my favorite people out there. Like even during that period in high school. Um, and we really liked talking to each other, and I still get to talk to him every now and then. But one of my favorite memories from him was towards the end of my junior year. He took me into the choir room and we played a piece together. It was simple, like the interaction was simple, um, but it was one of the most cherishable and beautiful memories out there, and I'll
Mhm.
never forget that.
Yeah.
But senior year though, senior year, unless you had something to say.
Um, I could add something. I did recently talk to Mr. Corn. There was
Mhm.
a tenderloin dinner for the current band, and there was an hour-long wait for the tenderloins, but it gave me a good opportunity to actually talk to him because last he knew I was at school learning to be a special education teacher. He and I were talking. I found out that I started teaching at the same school he started teaching. We started bonding over that. He was asking me about band. I gave him my updates. Mhm. No, he's a really, really cool dude.
Yeah, really, really great. Great friends with everybody.
All right.
I
And then to
almost
set Jake up uh for the next section. Remember how I said I had to learn how to do the Remington fast so I could do the bum 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 bum. Yeah, Jake,
Mhm.
what was the show that we played?
So this year's show was Pixar music.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of music, this is probably one of my favorites.
Yes. Yeah, you want
Yeah,
to tell him
yes.
what the first song was?
Yeah, so it was The Incredibles, the main music that you would see in the opening hours of the movie. And if you
Hmm.
know anything about the Incredibles score, like that whole score is just fantastic. I need to talk about
Yeah.
it one of these days. Um,
As in the song where the bass goes bum 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 bum. I had
and
to practice
then
airboxing for that one.
and then the two other pieces were very interesting though. We played um the ballad from Toy Story 2, When She Loved
Somebody
Me.
love me.
Yeah, which
Oh, I
was
think it was when she loved me.
yeah, this that was beautiful. We had a
Thank you, Jake.
percussion feat.
Thank you. I've really been practicing on that song.
God damn
It'll
it.
be my new karaoke song.
Yeah, but what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, we had a percussion feature beforehand, and then another interesting choice, way more obscure, in Into the Sky from
Touch the sky.
Brave. Touch the Sky. Something about the sky. Touch the Sky from Brave, which is probably the most underrated Pixar movie out there. One of the most.
It's one of them. I wouldn't say it's the most underrated because I feel like Wally is so underrated.
Yeah, but
And Ratatouille.
is it?
Ratatouille's pretty underrated.
Yeah, but the problem is more people have good things to say about Wally and Ratatouille than they do about Brave because there's a lot of people that for some reason have a problem with Brave. And I'm not
It is
saying it's a
because
perfect,
the princess doesn't marry a dude.
and I'm okay with that. It
Me
was a
too.
touching story.
It is a very
Um,
touching story.
yeah, regardless of that though. Music wise, very spectacular show.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that also happened during this time was when I started dating someone at the time, and she just so happened to.
We did it. We win. Jake's dating.
We
Woohoo!
won for 6 months.
Oh, man,
This
I
was
gotta
during
keep
high
looking.
school. This
All
was during
right,
high
time
school.
to go back to your Tinder profile. I mean,
I
nothing
don't have
set up
one.
a Tinder profile for you.
Good luck finding it because I don't have one.
Yeah, I definitely
Uh,
didn't set one up for you.
you wouldn't have been the first person to do so anyways.
I know. I know.
Um, but, but um, but she was in color guard, so that also meant I was always in the back of the bus with the color guard people,
Mhm.
um, which was a very interesting experience. Um, but it was a different experience as well. I should mention this too. One of the reasons there were a couple of reasons why I wanted to be drum major. One was because I wanted to get the experience of conducting. I wanted to get the experience of leading an entire band, and it was both exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. Never before have I thought that I would raise my voice to a very decently large group of people.
Yep. Don't worry.
Which
That's
is,
teaching in a nutshell.
oh
That is
man, that
teaching in a nut-
I still have to do that on
I know. So
rotation.
do I. It's brutal.
But um, but the other reason too was that at this time I was looking into colleges specifically to major in music performance. Um, and I was also wanting to audition for ILMEA, which I was trying to do since my sophomore year. Uh, but uh, but really the reason I wanted to be drum major was because I didn't want to keep practicing marching band music, which
That
the
is the
most
perfect
difficult.
cheat code. I didn't have to learn trombone. I just had to try out. I would have failed miserably,
Yeah, yeah,
but I
but
could have at
like
least made an attempt.
I just wanted more time to practice the stuff that I really wanted to practice. And also around that time too, I was playing with the Illinois Valley Community College band,
Hmm.
jazz band, which was a lot of fun and it was the right level of music for me at that time. Um, but for those reasons, I was drum major. Um, now Xavier and other people might have varying opinions about how I was as a drum major, especially compared to other drum majors, which we talked some of them highly about in our other episode. Um, I thought I was all right
I thought
overall.
you were great. You were the one that. So the thing about Jake, he. I'm trying to think of a good way. I'm not saying there was a bad way to explain it, but I'm trying to think of the way that's not going to come out for all. Jake was very militant about how he was directing, like
Yes.
as if he were a drill sergeant.
Yeah. Well, keep
There
in
were
mind
times where
too.
he called me maggot.
Did I?
I have no clue. I meant that more.
I never used that word.
No, but anyway, he was very militant. He it was like he didn't blink when he was conducting, which was great because I used to have like staring contests with him during Wednesday night rehearsals.
I remember that. I remember that.
It was one of the best things because there was a part in When She Loved Me where I was right in front of him and I was, you know, it was like there's that and our horns were at the box and he and I were just doing staring contests while our band director was yelling at everyone else.
Mhm.
It was a
Yeah.
it was a great senior moment.
Yeah.
I still consider that one of my big highlights. How
Mhm.
what other things will you do where you have an intense eye contact with your best friend who happens to be your boss in the situation? The answer is
Yeah.
none.
Yeah. I say one of the things about me though, being drum major, was that I was very stiff at my conducting.
Well, that's why
Um,
I say militant. You're
yeah,
militant.
but
You
but
are.
it yeah, it was a big flaw to everything, period. But like in my conducting, this was something I worked on when I took a two conducting courses for my undergrad. I learned to be much more floaty with my conducting, which is the very opposite of drum major conducting.
Hmm.
But I also got some help from like other people for my like my conducting technique. Um, I was I was able to get close enough when it came to like specific awards because I remember in our first competition I got like uh something having to do with like best drum major.
Hmm.
Um,
Geneseo.
yeah. Not it wasn't Geneseo, it was
It wasn't? Geneseo's
no,
the one that does best drum major.
it was some type of drum major award, but like it was the first competition that we did. We only did it once. I can't remember the name of the school. Um,
Washington? No,
no, it was
Washington
not
we did.
Washington. We didn't do Washington that year.
Oh.
Uh, um,
I know it wasn't Pontiac. Because Pontiac we do every year. Because it's right by where
we didn't do Pontiac either. We
Yeah, we
did
did.
we did Geneseo, we did Metamora, we did U of I. Um,
I could have sworn we did Pontiac.
I don't remember, but I know it wasn't either one of those for our first competition. Um, but I made some progress with it.
Hmm.
Um, and of course Xavier and I we did like the yearly senior speeches that
I
every
don't
group
remember
of senior.
mine.
I don't remember mine either. I just wanted to mention that that was something that we
Wait,
did.
do we? I know. Oh,
We did. We did. We just did it during the day rather than at the end of like nightly rehearsal. But
oh, that's
um
fine. I think I wrote something down, and when I went up to say my speech, I forgot what was on the paper.
yeah,
I was gonna do the
um
comedic thing about because every year we had someone walk up and be like, "Hello, I am so and so, and I'm a recovering alcoholic." But I
I re-
completely forgot what it was, so I just blanked
I
out.
remember that joke.
I think I made
Um
three movie quotes and then
yeah.
left.
Yeah. Um I remember for one of those competitions, which was the last one, uh, this was interesting because my brother's senior year of marching band, his competition got rained out, so they were not able to march. The same thing happened to us, except at this time they had an indoor stadium with a full-on football field in it.
Hmm.
So we were still able to march. It was inside, so things were kind of cramped
Hmm.
in there. Um, but that video is still there to see, and the acoustics were kind of different compared to the stadium. But regardless, it was still a pretty fun experience. Being drum major, getting to conduct a band. Um, it was just a lot of fun in general.
Yeah.
But also during marching band season, we did ILMEA auditions, and I was not able to be placed for sophomore or junior year, but my senior year, my only my first time auditioning for jazz, I was able to secure a spot for the that district's jazz band,
Hmm.
which would eventually get me to all state for jazz. And then I was able to be placed for concert band as well. And both of those concert experiences were a lot of fun, especially the jazz one, because our director for that was my brother's old high school band director. And that was just a very fun experience, period.
And I was
Um,
part of it, but that was probably because I was in track or cross country and scholastic bowl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any senior year stories from the first semester that you
I
would like to
do.
share?
I have a handful, but I think I want to go to another Zoom meeting for that because just like last time, we've got a little over 3 minutes left, and this might take a little while longer. Are you cool with that?
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
so we're
I'm
gonna
fine.
come back one more time so that we can finish off our senior year, which I wish happened to our real senior year. More about that later. And we're back one last time with some of my senior stories from our marching season. And I'm gonna start with probably a big one for me. I got injured. It was completely my fault. It was because I ran too much. I What happened was there was a cross country meet. I know we're talking about band, but there was a cross country meet shortly before our first competition where I was limping the last half mile because my foot was in so much pain.
Mhm.
The week after, so after that first band competition, I went to a clinic and they deduced that I had a sprained foot. So I had to wear a boot. Doesn't sound bad, right? You know what you can't do on a boot? You can't run, so there goes cross country. You can't march. And considering the trombone section at the time was trombone three, who was better. Like I'm not gonna go out there and say he was the greatest, but he was improving and it was great. I enjoyed that. He still sort of relied on the sound I projected. And we had two freshmen who were struggling to make a noise. More about one of the actually more about both of those freshmen later. But anyway, so for the next 2 weeks, I was on the sidelines of our I was on the sideline of one football game, two Wednesday night rehearsals, including our one where we had a college band director walk in to watch us, which, sucked because I'm like, I should be out there, and instead I'm on the sidelines.
Keep in mind, boots are made for walking, not marching.
But anyway, and the thing about that boot, I was in it for a week. I wasn't cleared to run my first race until the week after I got the boot off.
Hmm.
And that was only because the next race after that was the day after. And I was told no by my cross country coach, which I was fine with. It was my least favorite cross country course. So I was fine with that. And then my favorite cross country course, which was that weekend, got rained out. And we no longer run that. So rest in peace, Geneseo cross country. But that was also during our Geneseo band tournament, which I technically wasn't allowed to march in still by orders from Julie, our band director. But because it was rained out, we were in a standstill, so it kind of worked out.
Yeah, got to be part of the group.
Yep.
Um,
I do also remember, which one was it? It was after Geneseo. It was Metamora. Metamora happened to be our hometown, or the same day as our hometown meet. I think one of the hometown meets. And I remember having to run that race and then quickly rush to the band so we could go to Metamora and perform. And because my body generates a lot of heat in general, and it was generating extra because I had ran, that entire ride to Metamora, I almost gave someone heat stroke.
mm,
It was trombone three, the one I saved from heat stroke over the summer. So,
we're sorry.
yeah, I had to make it up somewhere. But that was how bad my heat was. It was so bad that if I sat with someone on a bus after a run, they were miserable. And I couldn't do anything about it because the bus was moving.
They can't say they say you can't beat the heat. They never said about beating the heat.
Yeah. And then I think, I'm trying to think, there was another like big significant moment. for band. I don't think it was everything I'm thinking of was after the band competitions. I do remember that last tournament at U of I remember walking off the field and my father looking at me like that was the strongest marching you have ever done. And to this day, he still marks that day as the day where I was a marcher.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I still remember the only downside to that performance was we never got to do it outside, but at least we were able to still do it on the field.
we
So
were. Yeah.
and at least was something, which was something my brother never got to do because they were still able to do their performance, but it was inside the stadium corridors,
Hmm.
where all the cafeteria stuff was at. So it was a standstill.
Yeah.
Um, but moving into like concert band and jazz season, similar stories to where like I got placed put pretty well because surprise, surprise, I was a hard worker. Um, and as we mentioned, I got into like the ILMEA bands and I got into All State for Jazz and I was looking forward to that. Things were riding high. And with me, doing college auditions, it was a lot of fun. Also during that time, I was doing varsity choir.
Hmm.
I don't remember much about it besides the fact that I was still enjoying it. Um, but I say the other significant moment was when a good friend of mine that I'm still great friends with to this day and still get to play with him. We had one of our fundraisers that occur in November, and we got to perform music and make all the band baskets. Um, with all different kinds of stuff in there.
Hmm.
And me and my friend decided that we were going to do a sax duet version of Dvorak's New World Symphony, just a short version of it, and it was pretty fun. I still have like a snippet of the recording somewhere in my Snapchat that I barely use. Um, but
Or you probably use more yours more than I do. I don't think I've ever gone onto your Snapchat.
mm, anyways,
I thought that was a
but
stellar joke, but whatever.
But also around that time, as Xavier knows, and something that I talked about during the poetry journal episode, if you recall, I was also not doing well at that time. Again, I won't get into like the nitty-gritty of it, but like I was just not doing the best mentally, not doing well, period. This was also when I that relationship that I was in during the first semester of high school got broken off during the early part of the second semester. Uh, the worst part about it was that this occurred about a week before the all-state auditions and performance. So I was going into that being probably the most miserable that I've been in my entire life thus far. Um, so going into that, I wasn't feeling the greatest, but I can say that I did enjoy the trip. I enjoyed the trip. I enjoyed the performances. It was a lot of fun. The only thing that I regret that I just wish I was in a better mood then. Um, but like I also got to see my couple of the colleagues that also got placed very high perform as well. Um, and it was just a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Um, very great performances. But as we all know, this was also in 2020. Um, the week before the shutdowns happened, we had our final solo and ensemble competitions, which for me it was pretty active because I got to do a solo work. And when I say solo work, I mean I didn't have an accompanist. This was
Hmm.
like an unaccompanied solo work, and my private teacher got to see me perform, and my judge told me that like, man, you kicked ass during that solo, and yes, he literally did say that. Um, but I got to perform with the sax quartet, which was a lot of fun. I think we also got to do sax ensemble. Yeah, we did. We did do sax ensemble. Point was, it was a lot of fun doing all of those. I also got placed very high in first district, not first district, but like first place or whatever. I don't remember. But week afterwards though, the week of when the spaghetti dinner and all the
Right.
other final event stuff would
So
take
I would say
place.
before we get to that, because I got a bunch of stories leading up to that.
Lay on us.
All right, so first, following your solo ensemble. No, I'm kind of working backwards. Deal with it. That
Mhm.
particular, I was upset after that. And the reason being was I had a solo. I was part of a duet, I was part of a trio, and I was part of a quartet. All four of them were in the top division. We didn't get our medals. We got medals all the times before when I was in the second division. Never once did we get one for the first division. I am upset for that. And I almost ended up joining a fifth one because one of our other band members
Mhm.
didn't show up.
Yeah.
But regardless, that happened. I remember Tuba Christmas, which was something we used to do every year. It was mainly for the low brass. It was one day during the like after everything happened or after the first semester of school. A bunch of the low brass players would go to a mall, perform a bunch of Christmas music, and go. I had purposely learned how to play tuba, which was another reason why I was upset I wasn't the most improved musician. Because I learned trombone and tuba and didn't go anywhere. But I remember learning how to play the tuba 2 weeks beforehand just so I could play tuba Christmas. And the day of, nobody showed up. I'll take some blame for that. I woke up to a text from our band director saying, "Hey, are you coming?" So I could have showed up, but we didn't.
Mhm.
That was a big low point. Um, Also, I took part in AP Music Theory that year, thinking it was music appreciation.
Mhm.
And that was on me. I learned a bit, and that entire situation was where the term stabicide began to be coined. It is where a band director or a band director's spouse is so angry with you that they're willing to grab a pencil and stab you several times. It was a joke. It was a joke. It wasn't actually something that happened. It kind of sparked because I heard the Triangle of Death a couple months before that. And because I wasn't thinking at the time, I said, oh, it's genocide, suicide, and homicide. So we had a fourth one and made it a death square. Yeah, we're hearing Jake's accomplishments, and it's like in college he was the grade A student, and apparently I'm the party animal in this situation. But regardless, I still did well in that class. Um, I remember I was asked to be part of jazz band solely because I was a senior and played trombone.
Mhm.
That was cool. We I remember going to one jazz competition, and that particular jazz competition, the guys all went to Buffalo Wild Wings afterwards. I don't remember how we did. I think we did well.
You're talking about senior year?
Senior year, yeah. It was the
Yeah,
one where the girls got to have this special dinner paid for them.
yeah, yeah. I remember that because part part I was there for like the sophomore and junior year ones, and but not
Mm,
the senior year one because you know why.
yeah. Situations. Don't
Yeah,
ask.
but
But anyway, I remember being at Buffalo Wild Wings and on a dare ordered the spiciest chicken wings. I had to wave down the waiter for milk twice.
oh man, I've done that before too, during college. I didn't do the challenge, but I did try the wings, and yeah,
It,
those are some.
technically, it wasn't the challenge. Technically, it was just I ate the wings, but someone offered to pay for my meal. And I think I only had $8 on me. So,
Yeah. Um,
and then
but you
there
got anything
was
else?
there was one more significant thing that happened. Well, technically two, but I'm gonna count it as one.
Mm-hmm.
So remember when I said we would come back to the two trombone players, the two freshmen?
Mm-hmm.
So I had key situations with both of them
Mm-hmm.
because our trombone section, we were more like a little family within the family. And one of them was having a rough situation pertaining to their personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
One day during a basketball, well, not during, but like before a basketball game, she rushed out. Someone let me know. I don't remember who it was, but someone let me know. I went to them, and she and I had a talk that I'm constantly reminded of because it was one of the most influential talks in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that talk, as well as how I treated the trombones, because I was a senior, there were two freshmen, and one of my friends, a great friend, I'd say best friend, but best friend is, you know, Jake. I tried pointing to you, but then I realized last time I pointed at you, I pointed in the wrong direction. So, but like I said, great, great friend of mine. Again, I still talk to him because of how close we became. We were like a big family, and the trombones started referring to me as Big Brother because I would be the one to go and either comfort them, lead them straight, or basically be that Big Brother figure. I found out a couple weeks ago because apparently one of my students is the youngest sister of one of the trombone players. I found out that that trombone player still calls me Big Brother to this day.
Aw,
And it warms my heart. It made me nearly cry inside a Dollar Tree. I can't make that up.
that's sweet.
It is very sweet. Although
Yeah.
now that student is also calling me Big Brother. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of hard for me to teach, but I'm constantly reminded of that and have to hold
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah. But the way to cap the end of our senior year, though, very unfortunate that COVID happened, which meant we didn't get to do our concerts. But
Mhm.
there were some significant stuff from that, though. Um, so the thing that we did like online classes, and it was more, there was some educational stuff through that. I remember we got to talk to a composer who just so happened to be a great saxophone player as well.
Mhm.
Um, and I remember him having some really great stuff involved with that. And then I remember the other significant thing I remember, and you can look this up too for anyone that's curious, on the Streeter Band Facebook page. Because a project that we did was we decided to create our own band memes, and you could
What?
still,
Oh, yes. I remember that.
yeah, they're still there. They're still there somewhere deep in the Facebook page.
Okay.
Um, Maybe we'll
Forgive me.
go
I
over
gotta
those.
quickly go look for them.
Yeah, but they're we'll talk about them one of these days. But uh I just remember doing them because it was fun. But the significant thing that happened during that year, though, besides finding out that I was able to go to college for music performance, which was a very significant moment for me, but also our band director uh, came to visit each of us to deliver our stuff, which included stuff like awards and um just a final goodbye since she was starting to move out and she was no longer going to be the our band director at the high school. Um, yeah, so we started with her and we ended with her, which is kind of cathartic to think about. But I remember that visit kind of being impactful and also just um, you know, really sweet at the end that she was able to visit each of us, really put her best foot forward. To anyone that says that, like, oh, she was never a great director, how many directors do you know go to your own house just to give you stuff and to actually talk with you?
Oh, it goes beyond that. So my sister is currently finishing her senior year in band.
Mm-hmm.
She will not cite the current band director as her band director. She will cite our band director. She will cite Julie as her band director
Mm-hmm.
because when we were in school, she would set up uh, these like clinics for the younger kids to come to the high school and learn from some of our student or some of her students.
Yeah, I remember
Sister
that.
would come and she would learn from a really good friend of both mine and Jake's, who happens to live a couple blocks down now from me, and she would learn directly from Julie. In fact, first band competition we had. I know this is a senior or this is a freshman year story, but first competition, my sister was standing with Julie, and she was watching the drum majors, and she said, "I want to be them when I grow up." It was Julie who stated, "You have to work hard." Like it wasn't like she was saying, "Oh, you're never gonna get there. You gotta work hard for that." And no, it was her saying, "Well, if you want to be there, you have to put in the work. You have to work hard. Are you
Yep,
willing to do that?" Guess what my sister's doing now?
working hard.
Working hard. And one of the scariest drum majors we've ever had because she got permission to wear whiteout contacts for their show. And it is scary.
Oh,
Yeah, I gotta
man.
show you a picture.
Mhm.
Also, I found the memes.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look to see if I remember mine.
I remember a couple of them. Mine, a couple of ours that I did. Um, But yeah, with that being said, that caps up the end of our band memories. So overall, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but they were significant building blocks, not just for band, but also for our personal lives, period. Um, to this day, I think my band director is probably one of the most impactful teachers that I've had next in high school, next to my Taekwondo instructor and my saxophone teacher and my piano teacher and a bunch of different teachers in high school and
Hmm.
my tutor and my parents, because my parents were also my teachers, which should be the case. But I was homeschooled. Either way, very impactful for all of us that were in school at that time and in band. A lot of great memories. And while it's fun to relive those times again, I'm also happy with my current standing as a musician and also as a person now because as we humans do, we've grown up and we've changed. Um, the only thing that I regret about band and in high school in general was that I didn't maintain a consistent friendship with Xavier. Um,
Yes.
which we've remedied that towards the end of our senior year.
Mhm.
Because believe it or not, at the lowest point of my life, he was kind of there.
Yep. Because that's what friends do.
Hmm.
Low points of our lives, we gotta be there for each other. I I'm gonna save that for when you're ready. There's something I gotta say, but I can't say it right now because it involves something we've been holding on for now, and I want to wait until Jake's ready for it.
Yeah, it might be a while for that, but
Well,
but with
just
that
like the
being
Mum
said,
or just like Mumford and his sons, I will wait. I will wait
mhm,
for
mhm,
you.
yep.
No, but
But
like I said, Jake and I, we have been friends for so long. Honestly, if he were to call me tonight and say, "Hey, I'm in a really bad point in my life," I will say, "Hey, I'm tired, but I will listen to what you have to say. I will go into the conversation with you. And if I fall asleep, yell at me to wake me back up." Because that's the thing about Jake and mine friendship. I call him my best friend. I I will go so far to say that he is a brother to me. As someone who
brother
has a
Raphael,
brother, Jake is definitely a brother to me as well.
brother from another other.
Yes. Expecting the utter part. No, but yeah, band was, I can tell you when we found out that band was, or that school was canceled, I was on my way back from Michigan to make it to spaghetti dinner on time. I can't tell, I, I, I don't remember fully the reason. I know that I was visiting my girlfriend's sister who was living in Michigan. We had to rush back. I know I wouldn't have made it, but still. But like I said, it that was a rough, sad time. I know Jake and I kept contact.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure because I know around that time I was doing a lot more building with Legos because my mom found this like cool 30-day Lego challenge that she
Yeah.
put into pieces of paper and we drew one. I'm
And
pretty
we
sure I sent you a couple of those pictures.
Yeah, and we were doing our own hangouts too
Yeah, we
because
were doing our own hangouts, mostly running, but there was a lot.
mostly running, but we also did a fair amount of risking video games and just
Mm,
chatting.
yep,
Um,
yep.
which you weren't a part of those at the beginning. I think
No,
that was sort of the tail end, but it
right.
was
Well,
still
to
a
be
lot of
fair, I
fun.
also don't play a lot of video games.
Hmm.
I'm the anti-Tenacious D. I always want to play video games some more. I always play video games, except I'm too busy for that. But I want to play video games.
But with that being said,
Mhm.
band, for people that are doing band in high school or even grade school, enjoy those moments when you can.
Yes,
They're probably some of the most fruitful experiences that you might have.
yes. They are some of the greatest. Like I said, if it wasn't for band, I wouldn't have met him wherever he is.
Hmm.
Like I said, right now he is to my left, but I'm sure when the video's playing, I'm gonna point to the left and he's gonna be to my right because the video wants to be a jerk. But like I said, if it wasn't for band, I would never have met him. I would not be a great shadow boxer. Uh, I will make the argument I wouldn't throw as far disc golfing without it because a lot of what I do is wrist flick, and that's kind of how you play fast trombone. There are a lot of connections I have nowadays that I wouldn't have because of band. In fact, I'd probably still be a shy kid sitting in a corner if it wasn't for band. So,
Yeah. And on separate videos, we will be talking about like those performances, which will cover the University of Illinois ones, because those
Mhm.
are the peak of like each season of the show, and it's the fairest to judge upon, and also the highest quality videos to go
Yeah.
upon.
Yep. And
But
I'm
with that
sure.
being,
Oh, what's that?
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I'm sure we may make a part three of this as like an aftermath of high school. Where have we gone from here? Because this is
Although
where
that,
Jake's story and my story with music kind of splits.
yeah, although that honestly could be just our own college adventures in general,
That could.
because.
That could.
But with that being said, this is a good end to
Mhm.
everything. So
We will
with that,
close the story
yeah,
onto
close.
our band
Mhm.
lives.
Yeah. So with that being said,
We will still reopen it, but we're closing it for now.
keep catching me off guard. But
I
with that
know.
being,
That's what you've been doing with me every time I try to stop the video and then you add things to it. So, how does it make you feel?
not annoyed by it, so I don't know what you're accomplishing right here.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, now
But with
you
that
may.
being, yeah, with that being said, I'm Jacob Green,
And I'm Xavier Dean.
and to all the people that are in band, keep marching, keep playing, keep doing whatever it is that your director or section leader or drum major has to have you do. And remember, still live your best life,
Mhm.
because in the aftermath, music is a part of life and we should enjoy it.
Yep. And to those of you who went on here thinking this was a rock band instead of a marching band, I just got one thing to say. For those who want to rock, I salute you.
I salute you too, especially with someone who is actually part of a rock band.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I gotta show you guys the video for that. But that's another day.
Yeah.
So, besides that, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week where I will hopefully have a topic. Peace.
Peace.